This episode of Back to the Roots podcast is brought to you by Soil Biotics. Save yourself some money next spring and improve your soil health naturally with Soil Biotics Soil Boost. This is a dry, raw, humic product that is broadcast post-harvest. Soil Boost will work for you throughout the winter months to create a looser soil and improve water infiltration and retention. Soil Boost helps to balance soil pH levels and increase nutrient retention so fewer inputs are needed. Soil Biotics is offering a special fall discount program for Soil Boost from October 1st through the end of November. Don't miss this once-a-year special that will pay benefits all next season. Call the office at 815-929-1752 or inquire at soilbiotics.com. This episode of Back to the Roots podcast is brought to you by Byron Seeds. The folks at Byron Seeds believe organic requires a different perspective, plan, and approach. Organic isn't simply a different type of product or even a different way of farming. It's a different way of thinking, planning, commitment. It's a different philosophy on how to feed the world. Many won't understand, but the people at Byron Seeds do. We're owned by organic dairy farmers. We not only have the product, but we plan, manage, and execute organic. We speak your language, we share your struggles, and we laud your successes. Organic isn't a way of doing business, it's a community. We learn from each other. We're in this together. We'd be glad to talk cropping plans, management systems, the road to profitability. We understand what you're trying to do. We're farmers just like you. Visit us at byronseeds.net or give us a call at 800-801-3596. And thanks to Byron Seeds. You're listening to Back to the Roots podcast. This is Brian Wood, and along with Mike Klein, today we're at the Homestead Festival, and we have the pleasure to sit down with Justin Rhodes. Justin is a permaculturist, a film producer, an author, and a teacher who has inspired thousands of people to grow their own food. He has a YouTube channel where he makes, I suppose you call it edutainment.
Yeah,
it's hard to
work.
say. With his wife, they have a homestead, and that's what we want to hear a little bit more. So thanks for joining us, and can you go into a little bit of detail of how that got started?
Yeah, sure. First, name your business again. Name the podcast again.
Back to the Roots podcast.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you said ruts or roots, and that was going to tell me where you were from. Where are y'all from?
Ohio
and Michigan.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, maybe you did say ruts. I don't know. She's nodding her head. Is that how y'all say it up there now? Come on.
Roots.
It's roots.
Okay.
Last time I checked.
Roots. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, so you want me to tell you a little bit about that business, farm? What do you want to hear?
Both.
Okay.
How'd you get started? What drew you to agriculture?
Okay, so we were pretty much living a normal life. We did always like living in the country, and I had country land in our family in the beautiful mountains of western North Carolina. So living in the country, but basically living city lives, doing things in town, living normally, went through college and stuff like that, was on a normal track. Well, Rebecca, my wife, somehow she got hold of an idea. She found out that conventional milk is not so good for you. It has hormones in it. It has I don't know what else she discovered at that time. But she said, well, we got to go organic. Okay, honey, I was doing pretty good, going on the Garden of Peace, yes, honey, whatever you want to do, we'll do this. And, that was a bit of a transition because it was probably $2 versus $6, but it's just milk. Well, we ended up, when we ran out of pepper, we buy an organic pepper. When we running out of, you name it, anything. So as we were running out of things, we were buying it. And before you know it, we were all organic. And we're at the grocery store one day, and I'm cheap white Justin. She's on this health journey. It's one thing if you're going to 3x your milk price, but then if you do it across the board, you're not getting the $1 eggs anymore, and you're getting the $6 eggs. I'm panicking. So we're checking out at the grocery store. It's all these Whole Foods. I'm being really tried, you know. I'm about the garden of the peace, but I'm about to lose it. And I look over and I see the seed packet or the seed rack right in front of the cash register. And just out of curiosity, I go over there, and I knew she was checking out these bundles of kale or lettuce, whatever it was. And they were about $3 for a bundle. Just one little bundle you could fit in both hands. And I went over to the seed packet, and just out of curiosity to see the price. So these bundles of greens were $3 each, and I noticed the seed packs were $3 each. But I noticed in the seed packs you had 100 seeds. I knew enough to know if one seed would probably mean one head of lettuce. So wait a minute. I would 100x my investment here if I would just plant that and let it grow up. 100x for the same price. And actually, I didn't believe it because I was thinking, if that's the case, why is the grocery store selling seeds? One, like they're going to put themselves out of business if everybody figured this out. And two, why are there any seeds left? Why hasn't anybody bought these? But anyway, I figured it out. Bought the seed packs. Went home. We had no idea how to garden. My family generation before me farmed sustenance my homestead, but my dad dropped it. My dad dropped the ball. He went into sales, and thankfully he just kept the land for nostalgia. So we just had to find who do we know that gardens, and we just contacted actually her parents' friends and said, hey, you got a garden. Can you come help us install this garden and get going? And that was basically how we got going. And it started as something as a way to save money and be cheap. Well, for her it was health. Me it was I got a little time. I can do this. And I end up coming along with her into that health journey. And now we're both into it. And now fast forward, we have a complete EIEIO farm. We're old McDonald. We've got everything, milk cows, pigs. The milk cows have babies for beef, 4 types of poultry, turkey, geese, duck, and chicken, lamb, 100% grass-fed lamb, and plenty of chidlers. We got 5 kids. Gardens, mucho gardens. Probably 4,000 square feet of garden, 7 raised beds, several flocks of chickens.
And do you sell some of your meat and produce and stuff?
No, we do not sell any of it. I tell people, Joe Salatin has this idea of the centerpiece of your farm. What is your money driver? What should you prioritize, and what should you complement with other species? And for us, we're sustenance farming. We cannot buy the food we need for our health and for our children. You cannot buy 100% grass-fed lamb. I mean, you can. It might come from New Zealand. It's going to be really expensive. You can buy organic bacon in the store, but where's the organic pork chop or the Boston butt or even the breakfast sausage? It's not there. So we have to grow it ourselves. And what was the question?
If you sell any product.
Oh, yeah. So what our main product is this edutainment. We look at that as a farm product, just like a farm would go into agritourism or Airbnb, renting a guest house or bringing schools in for tours. We create content. And I will say, oftentimes we'll be out there, we're doing the grind, we're milking the cow, we're doing a project, and hold on, let me set up the camera, because that's what I do. I make education, entertainment content, and the kids, they're ready to go. They're ready to get the project done. They don't understand. And I'll finally, I learn to remind them this: we're not out here milking cows. We're out here making a movie about milking cows. So then the filmmaking becomes the centerpiece because it's the number one driver for income and impact we have on this world. And then everything complements that. Now, we still think of the farm as the cow. The family cow is the centerpiece. Don't get me started on the family cow, because they thrive on something we can't eat that only needs sunshine. There's no such thing on food shortages and supply chain issues with grass. So we have this wonderful grass growing, and the cows convert it and give us 8 to 24 pounds of food a day. And that's food we didn't have to store, freeze, and we could eat just fresh.
Mm-hmm.
And as somebody who is mostly eats animal, I'm here to tell you, if in a pinch situation, we would not only just survive on milk alone, we would thrive.
Mm-hmm.
That's comforting.
Mm-hmm.
So the cow is our centerpiece. So we move the cows every day. We milk them in a different spot in the field every day. So if they crap, it's where it needs to be, and I don't have to handle it. And they do crap.
Mm-hmm.
They pitch their fits and poop on, while we're milking or whatever. And now it's not a problem. We've turned that problem into a solution because we turned that evil cow poo into holy cow squat. When we took it from, you were pooping at the home at the stanchion downstairs. No. How about if we milk you out in the field where you are? We didn't pull you from the herd. Cows stress when they are removed from the herd. They would rather die. So we milk them out on the field with everybody else, the bull, whatever, their calves, whatever. We're milking them. We move them on. And then behind the cows, we've moved the cows. Here comes the sheep. And the sheep eat the multiflora roses, other weeds and things that the cows don't care about. And they munch that down, and because it doesn't grow back as fast as the grass thrives.
Mm-hmm.
And what have we done here? We've made the land better for the cows. Okay? And that's the idea of the centerpiece. And then the lambs also eat grass, and if they're the cows and lambs don't share all the parasites. And in fact, many of the parasites, if there's a one that would hurt a cow, and the sheep ingests it, it dies in their system, and vice versa. So they're vacuum cleaners for each other. And then I'm not done. After the sheep come the chickens, and they're 3 days behind. Why? Because the flies come lay in the patties, the holy cow squat, and they grow fly larvae on that third day. And so the chickens figure that out, and they scratch that, and they spread that. So it's evil chicken poo if it's going to harvest a fly birth, right? Hatching, whatever it is. We turn it into holy cow squat. If we put the chickens on it, they spread that manure looking for it, so that fertilization is spread, and they eat the fly larvae, which breaks the pest cycle. I kind of went on a tangent there, but I told you not to get me started on cows.
Yeah, but that's perfect. But so to back up a little bit, what got you into were you trying to look for a revenue stream where you could do this full time? Is that what got you into the basically the video part of it?
Yeah, I was market farming part-time. I was running a ministry another part-time, and those two together, we could get by. We were growing a lot of our own food, selling some to pay for all of it. Well, then I got Lyme disease. I got the symptoms of Lyme disease. It surfaced. And so I was physically hurting and emotionally hurting, and I could not keep up with that demand anymore. And it broke my heart. I liked that movement. I was moving forward in that food growing movement, and I wanted to stay in that movement. And I had growing kids, and what to do. And long story short, a friend handed me the 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. Y'all read that?
I have not.
Oh, you're not in your head. So the premise of that book is pretty much build an audience through creating content, then create a book / this is aging me, like / DVD. That's where we're selling that, now it's all digital, the movies. But I came away from that, long story short, figuring out, this is how I stay in the movement. I can start creating content surrounding this. And we had had to downgrade our farm, but we had managed to keep a mediocre homestead going. Chickens and gardens and our family cow. And we said, let's do this. If what would my book and my movie be? Well, I had the most experience in chickens. I've been doing it for 10 years. Let's do that. And I created, long story short, I came at that with because I didn't have an audience at the time. I had I didn't have an audience at the time. And so what do we do? Well, they had mentioned a website or something, and I found out about Kickstarter. Y'all know Kickstarter? If people don't know this, people can have an idea for a business or service or book or movie or whatever, and they can put it before an audience, and people buy into it before the product's even made. And if you get to your goal, everybody's card gets charged, and you have to make the product. If you do not get to your goal, nobody's card gets charged. Everybody's cool. Everybody understands it. Well, I didn't know anything about the internet at that time. Kickstarter, so you know what I did? I went to the library. Y'all remember those? We went to the library, and I went online. I found 2 articles online, and I got a library book. And I studied it, and I came up with my own plan. And before we launched that Kickstarter, a whole month pretty much, I was full-time prepping for this launch. And then we go into this launch, and mind you, I had like 7 people on an email list. 7 people that somehow had opted into something or another, maybe on Facebook or something. And going into that Kickstarter in 30 days, implementing that plan that I just got at the library, we raised $35,000 in 30 days.
Jeez.
What?
You're going to have to sell a lot of eggs to do that.
No kidding.
And I figured that. Yeah.
What was the product that you were putting? Was it just...
It was called Permaculture Chickens. And the premise was learn how to raise chickens from hatching to the plate in one evening. So it was a comprehensive how to do chickens. You could really learn it in 2 hours, and it was everything from getting them as chicks to raising them through, putting them in a nice permaculture system. Permaculture is a design idea where you just consider location and you consider how things work together, and it's a really natural way to approach things. And to the humane harvest, to how to cook them and put them on your plate.
And it was one video. Is what
was.
you were shooting for.
It was one video. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I raised that Kickstarter because I had no film or editing experience at that time. I knew how to hire an editor. I found an editor. What's your price going to be? All this stuff.
What year was that?
That was 2016.
2016.
No, 15, 16, something like that.
So you start in 2015, 16
Yeah.
with basically no audience.
None.
Do this Kickstarter to somewhat build an audience.
Yep. I've got 1,200 people on my email list after that because people opted into this Kickstarter.
So then how's it grow from there? You know, when I read the bio, 1 million people helping out 1 million people. You've gotten into the YouTube side of things. How do you
That's a good question. How do we go from helping 1,000 people to now helping 3 million a month?
Mm-hmm.
Content creation. We live in a new economy. There is an opportunity before us that is unprecedented and unbelievable for entrepreneurs that I don't think we've ever seen before. Look, I don't know if people are watching this or not, but you pull out a smartphone and you've got the world's information in your hands.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we didn't always have this, and it's only very recently. I mean, you can broadcast live with this thing. You can compete with ABC News. Anybody. With something that everybody has. No smartphone. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So I continue to create content. For me, it was blogging at the time. Remember those? Like writing articles and stuff? And I would join. So basically, I had to make this movie. I had to make Permaculture Chickens now. So I said, here's my outline. 10, I think it was 10 or 12. Okay, I'm going to write this out. I'm going to write out the chapter, make these epic blog posts, like 3,000 words. And I would write these epic blog posts. And at the bottom of each blog post, I learned this, I guess, from Nathan Barry or some guy, to at the end of each blog post have an opt-in. Oh, if I taught you how to get started with chickens, say, well, you could join my email list and you could get a free checklist. And people would be joining my email list. Okay? And at the same time, I was pretty much writing the book. And it was going out there for free, and people were able to opt in. and we're building our list this way. And we did this thing. I just figured this out. I did the social butterfly tour. That's what I called it. And I would go on every Facebook group of homesteading, permaculture, and chickens. Anybody had groups 2,000 or more, and I would just post those articles. So I don't feel like it was too spammy. It wasn't like, go buy my movie. It was like, here's a useful 3,000 word article with nice pictures and stuff. And I never got in trouble. I think I accidentally posted in a library, like a permaculture library or something, and they said, nah, please don't do that. But nobody got irate or anything. Well, anyway, that built our list, cranking out these articles. And now what are we going to do? I've spent the money. That was kind of my fear. We would get just enough to get the product and still not have enough to live, And we really didn't. We had to go on credit cards. We're dumpster diving. We had to go on food assistance. We had maxed out $20,000 of credit cards. And I'm like, I don't want to get any more credit cards. And they're going to stop giving them to us at some point. And we're going into this launch. What the heck do we do? So I'm listening to all these online business guys. You got to be good at two things today if you're going to farm. You've got to be good at farming, but you also have to be good at marketing. You have to. And that means you have to consume the marketing gurus. And that's what I did while I was doing dishes, while I was in the drive. Dude, I had to burn podcasts onto CDs and listen into the car. Dude, he had some janky car. And only one car between us. Only one phone between us. 4 kids. And what are we going to do? How are we going to launch this thing? So I finally heard this guy on Smart Passive Income podcast, and it was actually a lady, and she mentioned a launch formula or something by Jeff Walker. Turns out he had a book. So where'd I go? I went back to the library and got this book launch. And it's basically a blueprint. I just followed it to the T. You basically make 3 free videos full of great content and get it out there to your audience. And they enjoy these 3 videos. And then after that, they go into a sales funnel. So every day for a week, they're pitched in a different way. Creative, storytelling, so people still get content out of it. But they're pitched. Are you going to buy this thing? And long story short, $30,000 in 7 days. And then $10,000 a month for the next 7 months.
Buying the videos.
Yeah. I've sold over $1 million of permaculture chickens. This is crazy. My dad told me, and y'all's faces are like, what? People are going to buy this? You should have seen people because they knew the despair that we were in. And when we told them our idea was to make a chicken movie,
and almost
they held back those laughs that you guys. I mean, you guys can laugh now because we've made $1 million. But they a chicken movie, and then not just a chicken movie, like a natural chicken movie. My dad told me, "You won't sell 4 copies," and he was trying to look out for me. And you know what? He was right. I have sold 4 copies in our county. These copies have gone all over the world because of the internet. And that's super niche, isn't it? That's crazy. A chicken movie for one, and then a permaculture chicken movie. Insane. Now, we had this great launch, and one of the things in launch is you partner with, if you don't have an audience, you find somebody with an audience, and basically you give them 50% of the sale of anybody they bring into these free movies. So all they're doing is promoting a free movie, and the internet thingamajiggers tracks that and gives them 50% commission if they make a sale. And so why not? Why not give them that? Because that would be a sale you didn't have. I would pay $50 to get 100 all day long. Mm-hmm. Okay? And it's worth it because they've put in the hard work to build that audience. And so I did it. I launched to my own audience right there at first. It was 10,000. I mean, that's not bad. And then launched with partners, and it was another 20,000. So then after that, we did a partnership every month, threw in bonuses and stuff, and that's how we did 10K for 7 months. Now, it's all over. I go and return that book to the library. $2.25 late fee. You think that was worth it? You think that was worth it? We're still trying to catch up on everything with our bills and stuff and get caught up of all this wreck that we were in. And came my birthday, and my mom wanted to know what I want, and I said, "Would you get me the book Launch?" Now I have my own copy.
So, just thinking of trying to, you said farmers today need to be both farmers and marketers. And, just
yes.
talking to you, you've got an outgoing personality.
Yeah.
You've got a willingness to learn and curiosity to try new things. Not every farmer has that. Not every farmer has that capability or want to do that. How does somebody that is not willing to, or wants to back away from the marketing, how do you help them?
That's a good question. For one, people can work on that. If you go and watch Permaculture Chickens, I can't watch it. If you're not embarrassed by your first work, you waited way too long to hit publish.
That's why I don't listen to this.
Don't listen.
Oh, no.
Because then, especially if you've been doing this a while, how long have you been doing this?
4 or 5 years.
Wow. So now, especially if you went to listen to one of your first ones.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Can't do it.
Okay. So I encourage people to get just 1% better as they continue to produce. And before you know, if you got 1% better every day at one thing, or every time you put out a show, it would actually not take, everybody thinks it would take 100 days to double. No, because of compounding, because if you change 1%, well, then you've got 1.10, whatever it is the next day. Well, then you do 1% of that. And before you know it, it's only 72 days and you've doubled. So, but I do think there is, in fairness, I think you can get better. But in fairness, you can get better in personality. But in fairness, maybe you can't. Maybe you have it or you don't. But don't say, I can't, or I'm not good at this. Don't say that. If your goal is to have the rockinest podcast and you don't think you have the talent, you need to ask yourself, how can I have the most rockinest podcast? And it could be, well, I bring on a co-host. It could be, maybe I get different kinds of guests. Maybe I have a different kind of format. Maybe I hire somebody. Maybe I find I don't know. As soon as you say I can't, you limit yourself. But I'll understand there is a limit. Like Shaquille O'Neal is not all the motivational speaking in the world to himself, self-talk. Shaquille O'Neal, big 300-pound plus basketball. Oh, this is telling my age, right? I'm a 90s kid. Is he going to win the Kentucky Derby? If anybody doesn't know anything about the Kentucky Derby and races horses, you have to be like 100 pounds. Can Shaq win the Kentucky Derby?
No.
Absolutely not.
Yes. Because he says, how? Do you guys know how Shaq can win the Kentucky Derby?
He can hire a 100-pound.
He can own the team.
He can own the
team. See? Okay, so I don't know what the example is. Oh, one of the things is, well, you could go learn. You could go to a class. I mean, we're freshening up on Kevin Costner. He's going to be here tonight. So I'm listening to that podcast with Tim Ferriss had him on. He's talking about going to acting class. It didn't just come natural to him. We think, oh, you have acting or you don't. No, apparently you don't. Apparently you have to go to acting class. So perhaps there are things to do. We just got to get out of that can't mentality. And you just got to get 1% better and just challenge your brain. Say, instead of can't, say, how can I? So then also, we're almost to 1 million subscribers. We never dreamed that. We didn't even monetize our channel. We didn't even enable ads. Like, we were just going to continue building our small audience and nurturing them. There's this classic article. If you guys are into business and becoming better, it's called 1,000 True Fans. So really, and you guys are probably there, and so you have to think about a way that you could serve those 1,000 true fans. You probably need about 10,000 subs on YouTube. That's not unattainable. You need it to be where 1,000, 2,000 people are watching every video or every podcast, no matter what you put out. If you get there, All you got to do is think how you can serve them in such a way that they would trade you $100 for it every year. So is that putting, like Tim Ferriss, he put together a Tools of Titan book and compiled the best tidbits of everybody's information and put it in a book. Okay? And I don't know if it sold for nearly $100, but it's about that thick. So it's fun math, though. If you got 1,000 people, if you served 1,000 people and they traded you $100 for it, what's the math on that? I bet you can do that real quick. We're not supposed to do math in public, but it's $100,000. Could you guys do all right on that?
I think I could be okay.
That would help with travel expenses.
Almost $10,000 a month, guys, and it's not that unattainable. You just have to think about how you can serve the audience in a big way. Business means you're serving. If you want to become a billionaire, you need to figure out how to serve 1 billion people. If you want to become a millionaire, just figure out how to serve 1 million people.
So, just to stay in the I can't do this mode.
Yeah.
We deal with it with the podcasts, and I'm sure anybody that there are thousands of podcasts. There are thousands of YouTube channels.
Yeah.
Can everybody do this?
Yes, absolutely. Why not? Because there's not one of us look alike. There's not one of us that are exact the same. There's only one Justin. It's a land of opportunity because there's 4 billion people online, and Google and Amazon and everybody else is working really hard to get all 8 billion of us online. And what that means is, sure, I cannot. Remember my dad's in that scarcity mentality. You cannot, and he was, because he grew up barefoot and walking. He can remember getting running water and electricity. So he's a little hindered there, but you can, because you need to get niched. And I didn't necessarily know this, get into it. I got lucky in this manner, but I chose chickens. I didn't choose homesteading. It would maybe have been too broad. I didn't choose healthy eating because maybe I would have had too much competition. There's no worm guy. There's no goat lady. There's no, just start. Pick a niche that you love, and you don't have to be the expert in it. You might want to know something. If you learn that you can keep chicken eggs on the counter and not in the fridge for 4 weeks and they won't rot, you know something. Put that out there. And to put that out there doesn't mean you're the apron-wearing permaculture chicken ninja master. Okay? And if you are the apron-wearing permaculture chicken ninja master, like myself, you still don't know everything. You still don't know everything. And that's okay. You know something. Be bold enough to go in it knowing something. I think this story's old, in my opinion. We're just getting started. Watch us goof off and make all the mistakes so you don't have to. Don't do that. I'll show my mistakes, and that's one reason people relate to us. But I'm also unafraid to say something I do know, and to take a stand in that. People are attracted to that, and they need that, because anybody can talk to Mr. Google Pants and say, how long can you keep eggs on the counter? And you're gonna get probably 1,387,062 answers. But if they keep searching for things related to chickens, and they keep, or cooking eggs or whatever, and they keep seeing this Justin Rhodes, I'll do this myself. If now I need to know something about, if I want a certain recipe, I will type in chicken pot pie by Jill Winger, Prairie Homestead. I'll ask Mr. Google Pants for that, because I've came to trust that authority. And is she perfect? No. Does she know absolutely everything? No, but you need this stabilizer, the center pole. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You have to trust something, because this is something that baffles me. Me being in the health world, seeing brilliant doctors or people that can advocate for a vegan diet. And then, as a carnivore myself, a carnivore diet, brilliant, can push that and make total sense of it. Two drastically different opinions, two very smart people totally disagreeing. So who's right? At the end of the day, you just have to have a sense of community and following and trust. So, and somebody just starting out, nobody cares what you had for breakfast. A lot of times people see me and we're showing the family. We're showing little Henry, 1-year-old, seeing a flip-flop and trying to put it on. I've just posted that to Instagram. And people care about it. But it's only because first I told them how long they can keep chicken eggs on the counter. And that doesn't matter who's telling them that. They don't care. But they kept finding me and seeing me surrounding chickens. I'll come to this event. It doesn't happen so much anymore because now I've expanded into more permaculture, homestead design, family homesteading type brand. But at first, I was the chicken man. I'll still get it today. My son calls me, you the chicken man. Let's watch the chicken man. And that's okay. Mm-hmm. But then you get some traction. If you guys follow somebody on famous online, who do you follow on Instagram that's famous?
You. Not on Instagram.
Somewhere.
You.
Me? Okay. So you follow me. I've helped you in some way. You might be kind of interested in maybe what happens behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're building your community is what, we've lost some community in the world we live in.
Yeah.
And there is some that can be built online. I'll
say this. I'm talking to everybody here yesterday. They say, I appreciate the show. I really like it. It's mean a lot. And I'll say, well, why? 7 of the 7 to 10 would say, the family. We just like watching the family. But they weren't finding me by searching family-friendly vlog. I very highly doubt that. They were probably searching homesteading or how to butcher a chicken, whatever. Mm-hmm. And I had one guy say, I couldn't watch you at first because I clicked on it for this and this title, and he didn't quite understand the vlog concept. And he's like, you're like going through the day. I had fast forward to the point, and then I came back and I got it. So I think people come for the resources, the systems, the mission that we're all on, and then they stay for the family, because then we're all here doing something together, and it was different. So I think you need to be yourself. You don't need to just necessarily copy what I'm doing, and I'm even reinventing myself all the time. What got me here is not going to get me there. Affiliate marketing, like I did early on, six years ago with permaculture, doesn't work so well anymore. I mean, a lot of people have figured that out and doing that now. And influencers, if they're willing to share and don't have their own product, it's kind of a bit saturated. So you have to also think, do I like to interview people? I'm going to do a podcast. Do I like to... And then you could do all kinds of different kinds of podcasts. Like, did you guys know murder, mystery type podcasts is like the #1 genre of podcast? Mm-hmm. You knew this? Something like that? Mm-hmm. I don't know anything about it, but somebody was telling me that. You can fact check me on that, but that's a different, I guess that would be storytelling or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then what if you like to write? Blogging is not dead. People are still asking Mr. Google Pants to how to cook I just did it. How to a recipe for a lamb leg. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then there's all those ads on that thing that I scrolled through. And that bloggers are making it. And then there's Instagram. For Instagram's more videos now, but so short videos, or are you more bit long form with YouTube? Do you want to do instructional videos? Do you want to do a vlog like I do? Do you want to do music video? Whatever. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. There's all these different choices. So the farmer first has to figure out what kind of content would I like to put out, and he has to realize I don't have to have 1 million people. I just need to put up something once a day, something on some sort of platform that I feel comfortable with documenting this journey, because that's going to be my customers that are going to come see me at the market or that I'm going to ship to. That's going to be my support system. That's going to be the people I do if I decide to do a workshop, a gardening workshop. And even then, you don't have to have that personality to get 10,000 subs. I've traveled a lot. I've been around a lot. I've seen a lot of channels. And people are doing well on the spectrum of personality and even quality of style. I would tell Greg Judy, older gentleman running grass-fed, highly profitable grass-fed breeding things for cows and sheep. And I don't know if I turned him on to you. No, I helped him get a bunch of followers, but all he does, now he can tell a story, and he really has a way to doing it, and it's really entertaining to hear him talk about it, and he's really educational. He seriously goes out, he gets the YouTube app on his phone, and he just goes out there and just does one shot. And he tours, he shows the cows moving that day, and he might be talking about how we knew when to come back to this, how we knew when to come graze this. Oh, how are the dogs doing with it? What their role is in it. It'll be a spit. One day he had one on how do you cross a ditch with an electric fence. So he talked about how you hang the fence in a certain way onto the post and jam it in, and how do you, if there's all this pressure pulling this fence line up, how do you stick in that fence post so it doesn't just lift up out of the ground? That was his video one day, and he's getting 3,000-4,000 views on a video. And so,
All right, we're still here with Justin Rhodes. We had a little bit of a card full issue, but I don't know exactly where we got cut off, Justin. But I want to ask you back to, you mentioned that your dad grew up with scarcity, and he was scared for the decisions that you were going to make.
Yeah.
And how did you not fall into the exact same trap?
Yeah. Well, if you remember, I got into the scarcity mindset too. We're there checking out. I'm freaking out. My wife's spending this money on organics. You can also see the scarcity mindset in my approach when there's a shortage of money. We go to the savings mentality. Oh, we got a dumpster dive. Oh, we've got to stop spending money. Stop buying the dates at the grocery store. The treat fruit or whatever. That's a scarcity mindset. That actually is a scarcity mindset. And at some point I learned, don't think, it was probably Ramit Sethi that helped me on this, a business guru. Don't cut out your latte. I don't drink lattes, but nobody listening to this probably does either. But I think you get donuts, whatever you guys like. I don't know. Don't cut that out. What are you going to do? Save $2? And how big is that going to get? What you do then instead is, that's the scarcity mindset. If you have an abundance mindset, you say, well, how can I earn, if this costs me every day $2, well, how can I start earning more? Because how much can you save? If you make $50,000 a year, there's a limit on how much you save. You can live like a homeless person and spend $0 and only save $50,000 a year. That's a lot, but there's a cap. You can only save 50, and you're going to have to spend like a homeless person and not spend a dime. So there's a limit. But there's no limit to how much you can earn. There's no limit. This is America. There's no limit. I learned this and have this mindset from experience. So from listening to these business guys, teaching me these processes that I didn't understand, but I just plugged and play, and it worked. Now, did it work every time? No, and they'll tell you that too. You tweak and do things, and it works. And one of the I started listening to the business podcasts, Smart Passive Income, Pat Flynn, and then I started listening to Tim Ferriss, and he has big thinkers on there. That's who I'm listening to catch up on Kevin Costner, like very successful people, and they think big and they think different. They think different than my dad. They think different than your friends and family. Everybody around you is most likely in the poverty mindset, normal life mindset, and you are the 4 or 5 people you hang around with. So guess what, guys? You got to go to the legends in the books. You got to,
like, we're friends with him. That's what we're like him.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yep. That's why you're going to have to go to the books, man. You're going to have to go to the books. You're going to have to go to the podcasts, and you're going to have to start hanging out with these people. We've hung out with Kevin Costner for an hour the last 2 days. Hardworking man. Puts in the work. Isn't better than nobody. He would, in his early days, he would frame a house in a day. And he sucked. He wasn't good as good as the other carpenters. But to get another job the next day, you had to put in the work. And maybe a good carpenter could quit in 8-9 hours. He'd go 12. So that's who I'm hanging out with.
Mm-hmm.
people with abundance mindsets. I might not meet him here, but I just hung out. I don't need to. I hung out with him for an hour. And so then when I go and make these decisions, and I said to you guys, oh, if you want to be a billionaire, all you got to do is help a billion people. Well, I learned that from Peter Diamandis. I think that's his line. Diamandis. He was on Tim Ferriss' podcast, and he's dreaming big. Like he's going outer space and mining asteroids type of stuff. Like the big stuff will get you out of that mentality. And yeah, I was scared when my dad said, you can't do this, and I didn't know. And I was so happy when we're in the middle of this thing. He knows what's going on, and he says, how's it doing? And we're at like, or how'd it do? And I'm like, it did $35,000. What? In a week? What? He started believing that. But I could believe it because I was hanging out with people that had done it and believed it and believed in even bigger things.
And, like you said, you can reach out or expand your group by podcast or books or whatever avenue. But there are also people locally, and I say this from working with farmers and the experience we've had there. Our friend Kevin would always say, and he's been a farmer for years, a successful farmer, he said there are two kinds of farmers. The ones that look at who signed the front of their check and the ones that look who signed the back of their check.
Wow.
And that is kind of saying in different words exactly what you're saying on the abundance mindset. There's places, the least successful farmers, and I'm generalizing here very much so, but are the ones that are afraid to spend any money whatsoever.
That's right. So that's the difference between me and my dad. He would nickel and dime everything. He would take his frugality into business investment. You can't do that. You have to spend money to make money. And I would be doing some crazy things in his eyes. But then if I'm getting 10x on that money, because I had to spend some money, going to Virginia, doing this thing, hiring an editor, that can be crazy. So you have to get in that somewhat of an abundance mindset. Come in here. That was a big risk. We got a booth for the first time. We're at the Homestead Festival, so for people listening can have context. Well, we got a booth for our company, Abundance Plus, our streaming platform. It's a big risk. I mean, what if we spend $4,000 and don't even bring in $1,000? And for all I know, yesterday I thought that's what was happening. People were coming in and meeting me, and I didn't really see any credit cards coming out. Well, my assistant reached out and said, last night, she said, I'll get you the numbers, and we've doubled our investment day one.
So
But it could have been the other way. Mm-hmm. But you had to take that. And I took that's it too. Fail small, fail a lot, but fail small. Whether it's farming or business, try one show. Try one fest, see if it pays for itself. Don't sign up for a 100-show circuit. Try one.
Mm-hmm. So what is your company? Or
Yeah. So I did end up going away from blogging and I found somebody who was doing what you call vlogging. It was like a family vlog where you actually are making videos of your family doing what you do. And I thought, well, that might work. And long story short, we try it out. And the audience really resonates with it. At the time, there wasn't a show where you're just like real-time, reality-style vlogging. There wasn't. There was instructional YouTube, like Wrangler Star was on the scene. He was doing good. And there were others. But I think we were the first to go into this like reality vlog style, and it just took off. And eventually, look, you start building this audience, and it doesn't have to be very big before you start identifying. Podcasting is tough because you can't get comments, but perhaps you get emails and stuff. You start to identify the need they have. And I started realizing, and this was, I started realizing, there are those people that come to the show to learn actually how to butcher chicken, and they don't care about me getting the kids a quick meal and prepping it and then eating supper afterwards. They just want to step-by-step how to do it. So I launched Abundance Plus, which is now our own streaming platform, our own app, and I launched Abundance Plus, and it's this place where it started out as a do-it-yourself library. And part of it was too, YouTube was cracking down on us. They wouldn't let you show guns. They wouldn't let you show butcherings anymore. And we needed a place for that. I was an authority and needed a place to teach that. So we launched our own platform. And that's Abundance Plus. And now it's morphed into a whole streaming platform. Like people are getting, we had a couple we met here yesterday that she said, Justin's launching this app. We turned it into an app eventually. And I want to get up. I want to get in that network. And I'm starting talking about how this just isn't the Justin Rhodes instructional videos anymore. We're going to produce television shows. I'm going to have a television show. I'm going to produce television shows on other people, like stuff you would see on Netflix or Discovery. Why can't we have our own thing? We can. I saw that app, The Chosen, and I don't know if you've heard of it. It's like the story of Jesus' life or something. And that doesn't matter necessarily what it's about, but you can't watch that on the movie theater, on network TV, on YouTube. You have to get the app. People can watch for free, and then they have this amazing like pay it forward type of thing, optional, and that's how they fund things. They season 2 is going to cost this much money. Whenever we get it, we're raising funds until we get it, and then we'll produce it. But I saw the future of entertainment. So TV killed the radio star. YouTube killed the TV star. Who's next? Apps. Individual apps, people's own streaming platform. Because one, the technology's there. Now I can have my own network. I have my own streaming platform. You can get on there in the app. And I've talked to people here. They said she wanted to get the app. And he said, well, you're going to have to cancel Netflix. Because that's what's happened. People got rid of their cable. Mm-hmm. And they go for HBO Max, Netflix, Disney Plus, whatever. Well, we're there too now. Why can't we? Homesteading deserves that. So now we have Abundance Plus, and people are, that lady, she got rid of her Netflix. I was so happy. That's like the best thing I could ever hear. And they signed up for Abundance Plus, and now they can gather the TV around, gather the family around, and watch shows and documentaries on the TV. Enjoy wholesome, family-friendly content. We can put our vlogs on there, no ads. Like, why go through... The ads are okay, That's a pretty good model. People can watch it for free. The ad companies pay us. We're getting 60% of that ad revenue. That's a pretty good model. But this new model, this Kickstarter type model, is you can go directly to the creator now. So people can go directly to us, and we can get 100% of the money now instead of just 60%. And now you don't have to see ads. And now, unlike in YouTube, you watch one of my shows. Who knows what the next show YouTube is going to recommend to that child who watches my show? Mom and Dad might not be too comfortable with that, but they can put them on the Abundance Plus app and rest knowing this is all going to be family-friendly content. Sure, there might be some butcherings. Sure, they might need to veer away from our video podcast, because maybe there's some choice words and whatnot from guests, but that's more adult type content. But the kids are generally safe watching the vlogs, watching the shows.
How do you stay? You started in 2016, and you went on YouTube, which was definitely a thing at the time. But you said, you went through the progression of TV killed the radio star, so on and so forth. How do you stay ahead of what's coming next?
I have to pay attention, man. You got to pay attention. I'm always disturbed and on it and thinking about it. Like even with my YouTube's changing. It used to reward daily content really well, and now it's more extravagant, exciting topic type of stuff, and so it changes. And then TikTok's coming on scene, and TikTok's starting to pay creators when they weren't, and TikTok's getting a lot of people attention. So is vertical film and content creation the next big thing? I'm kind of thinking it is. So I'm having a hard time ignoring TikTok and am trying to find a way to go there comfortably that doesn't compromise how I want to create, finding my voice there. So having to temper with that. Like before YouTube, I was doing Periscopes. Anybody know that?
Oh, yeah.
That's that was the first live streaming platform, and I think it was by Twitter. And I would do that. I did those every day for 150 days. That was my bit. That's what the business gurus were saying. Now I was still blogging and building my email list. I did these Periscopes, and I would push my email list to them, and still couldn't quite get traction. Maybe a dozen people would show up on each show. And finally, somebody was on there like, you ought to do YouTube, and that was one of the. It took me a while to finally get in YouTube. It was seeing somebody else doing a family vlog. It was seeing somebody saying you ought to go to YouTube, to finally doing it. And YouTube took off. And it's been really good for 7 years. But like I said, what got me here is not going to take me there. Mm-hmm. And I want to be like Dave Ramsey, Rush Limbaugh, Howard Stern, and have this long, successful content creation business, the steady thing. And so to do that, I'm going to have to consider platforms. And so right now it's, well, we're going to launch our own platform. And, YouTube's gotten stricter. It went with, I understand maybe guns, or even though I'm all for guns, butchering, I even understand that. Obviously, I'm all for it. Then it got into, they demonetized a peaceful cow birth. We had a peaceful cow birth. There was no blood. There was no drama. We showed it. They pulled it. And even a human reviewed it. So, and it went under the category as shocking and blah, blah, blah. So it's some vegan in San Diego reviewing this thing. And it gets pulled. And then for the first time in our career on YouTube, they downright pulled a video. Like the cow video, they just demonetized. So I can't. I get it. They're looking out for their people, their advertisers, and it's their company. That's the thing. It's a whole third-party company. That's why I'm thinking and hoping and banking on first-party access and companies. Like there's a company called Uscream that now I can use. They build all this for me, and I can have my own platform thanks to Uscream. And it's not and there's, I can show this stuff. They just recently pulled a video. Didn't just demonetize, they pulled it. It ended up being for child safety. And I don't know if that's because the kids are helping me on the chores, but that's our shtick.
Wow.
So now it's getting way too close. But I'm not like crazy panicked about it anymore. Because early on, I saw what YouTube was doing with guns. And I didn't have that many gun videos. And by that time, our first viral video was a butchering video. And that's what launched our career on YouTube. And I by the time that had fizzled out, and so it wasn't that big of a deal. We were on the Great American Farm Tour, and we're filming these other farms, and we ain't doing a lot of butchering videos anyway. But I saw the writing on the wall. Mm-hmm. So you have to be paying attention. You have to have a pulse. You have to be paying attention to what other people are doing, and you have to try things, and you have to be able to let things go. I could have kept going on Periscope, and I don't even know if it's around anymore.
I think Twitter killed it.
Yeah, so, and now Twitter has something more like Clubhouse where you can get on live and do voice live with people. Mm-hmm. And that's probably going somewhere. Mm-hmm.
The TikTok thing is, I don't understand. I started putting some videos up on TikTok just cool, like horse farming videos.
Yeah.
And they went viral, and I have no idea what I did.
That's all you have to do.
3.7 million views, and I have no clue what I did.
Why aren't you doing that every day?
Because I'm not that interesting.
Yes, apparently you are.
I find it hard.
No, you're telling yourself that. Don't tell yourself that.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah. There you go. Own it.
Yeah.
You don't like
I will totally own it because I can get some really great footage all the time.
Yep.
I just don't enjoy that at all.
Yep.
What I enjoy is sitting down with you and actually just listening to your story.
Yeah.
That's what I enjoy.
That's better than, well, then you need to be exploring. You could be exploring Clubhouse and those other things. Just exploring those, just like you explored TikTok and figured out it wasn't for you. You did good by saying, I won't do it. Because if you say I can't, which is essentially what you were saying, because you don't think you have the talent, you're telling yourself you don't have that talent. Of course you don't if you tell yourself that. Mm-hmm. But when you say, I won't, this is a good example. I'm glad we brought it up. When you say, well, I just won't. I just don't like it. Doesn't that feel more empowering? Like you're in more control?
It sure does.
Like you're a better person, and like you're more important, and it's okay to value yourself and prioritize what you do and do not want to do and put up boundaries for yourself.
Well, I'm in my mid-40s, so I'm right in the middle of the midlife crisis, and I'm totally okay with wanting to do some things because I don't have to.
No, you don't have to.
No, I would love for our podcast to take off more, but I'm okay if it doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Well, and you're doing all this, and I'll go back to where we started. You're doing all this with the cow at the center.
Yeah.
And I think the story you're helping to tell, we talked to Joel Salatin yesterday, and we talked a little bit about a farmer saying, I'm just a farmer. And you're helping give people, we went more into the business side of things, but you're helping a farmer say more than I'm just a farmer. Look at what
that seems so limited.
I know.
Oh, it does.
And it's sad to hear a farmer say that, because we went through with Joel yesterday. Look at all the things a farmer does. Now just add one more thing to the list with a videographer. Or
You're scared. You're scared to show yourself on. Just take a picture, please. Just take a video of the chickens getting out of the coop. You don't think you're interesting? Filling up the feed. I did a video called "What 288 Animals Eat in a Day." That's interesting. I wouldn't even had to show myself. Okay.
Yep.
This whole vlogging your daily life.
Yeah.
Because I think everybody loves a peek behind the scenes, and that's what you're doing with showing your kids and your family.
Yeah.
It's really evolved into not just a very well put together perfect video on YouTube. The guys I like
That's
on
true.
YouTube is holding a phone, shooting it with his phone, no editing, nothing.
Yeah.
And it's really changed over the years, and I think what you're doing is you're helping people learn about what life on a homestead or raising your own food. You're helping them learn how great it is.
Well, if you're homesteading, and I'm speaking to a homestead audience, you got to have a job, unless you're going to live like the Native Americans and live off the land 100%. And otherwise, you're going to have a job, because you like your air conditioning, you like plates, you like to read
Chairs.
a book, you like toilet paper, you like to lay in a bed, and all that's okay. So you're going to have a job. Well, I have a job, and that's I curate these videos, so that takes a lot of work. That slows us down a little bit in the farm, and then I edited them for a long time, but now I hire an editor. But it's a job, and so I, like everybody else, has to balance that. So running a homestead, running a business, running a family, it's all finding this balance. Everybody's going to have a job. Your job might end up being market farming, but still you have a job, and I encourage you to create content. It doesn't have to be super curated by me, like me. You don't have to amass this gigantic audience. You can do just like Greg Judy and do a one-take video. That YouTube app is free on your phone. The podcasting app is free on your phone. I mean, I guess you pay for hosting with Lisbon or whatever, but these things don't cost much anymore. You can build your own flashy website. Dude, back in before homesteading, I was a professional mountain boarder, and I was selling mountain boards online, and these are like big skateboards with wheels, like snowboarding with wheels down a mountain, and I had to pay website developers big money. And now you can just go to Wix or Squarespace or whatever, and create your own website in like 10 minutes. And I kind of feel like we're even getting away from websites. Like, I don't know if we will, but I haven't kept my website up to date in a really long time. My central place is YouTube. People go to my YouTube to find out information. They find the news about me on Instagram.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we've probably taken enough time, and you've got to
head
go.
over to my talk.
I really appreciate you taking the time
Yes,
to sit
sir.
down. This was
Thanks.
entertaining.
Yep.
Thank
Good.
you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.